go that went to double overtime. But remember, we did have a buzzer beater in the boys' scrimmage last year in Houston. And we take a look at the top 10 players in the class. All but one of them, they've all committed. Nate Ament, who will make his decision on Tuesday, number 4 in the class. He is down to 5 schools.
Yeah, I'll have a conversation with him later, but I'm not going to ask any pressing questions, PB. I'll leave all that stuff for you and all the where you're going to school type of thing. You know, that's more so your role than it is mine.
We both know the answer to what he's thinking about anyway. But he is loaded with upside, Nate Ament. Reminds me of Michael Porter at the same stage. Long shooter, close to 6'10".
And could be the most skilled player in the group. I'm talking about a bunch of guys with skill, including this one, the #1 player in the country, finishing off the alley-oop.
But how about the connection? Darren Peterson, number 2 in the class, to number 1, A.J. Dimitar. When those two are on point, I don't know if there's any team in America that can beat those two guys.
Now, the West has the top 2 and 7 of the top 10 players in the ESPN 100. Really a loaded group as we take a look at their starting lineup.
And they're just so athletically gifted with great positional size.
Peterson, who's going to Kansas, misses the long 2 for the West.
I think the East team is a little bit better shooting team, Corey, watching them in the last couple of days.
I would agree with you on that, PB, but I would also say that the West team has more competitors. I believe that they are the more competitive team, and so we'll see how that balances out when you consider that skill versus the will.
How about this athleticism? Right up to the rim.
And that's where Boozer is honestly underrated, how good he is on the defensive end of the floor, and we've seen how important that is for, of course, freshmen going into Duke. Cooper Flagg, one of the better defenders in the country, and Boozer going in next year very well trying to take over the same type of role.
Yeah, no one has a better resume in high school basketball than Cameron Boozer with the ball right now.
Boozer, 4-time state champion, 3-time Peach Jam champion, 2-time U.S. gold medalist. Ament the air ball from 3.
And you mentioned Peach Jam, the only team, the Knight Riders, to win every division, 15, 16 to 17, all the way through. Won it each and every year, he and Caden together.
And at 16, they beat Cooper Flagg and Ace Flagg, and Caden Boozer was the MVP of that game.
Dimitar stepped out for the West, a turnover. We have a running clock, just like we did in the girls' scrimmage. We will have timeouts at around the under 5 mark of each quarter so that the second units can check in for both teams. They want to be able to spread out the minutes in this setting.
Now, looking at the East, you got Darius Acuff. He is just a force with the basketball. You also have 24 in the black. Braylon Mullins, one of the best shooters in the class, if not the best shooter. He needs to get some shots with this unit.
Michael Brown setting up Caleb Wilson for the dunk. Brown going to Louisville, Wilson to North Carolina, a little ACC connection.
Corey, I thought Caleb Wilson was fantastic this morning, making three-point shots, back cutting, and hitting the glass. He was my MVP of practice for the West this morning.
And that's absolutely fair to see. Caleb Wilson, who really changed his motor when he went to play alongside the Boozer twins. Earlier in the year when he went to the Knight Riders and left, of course, the Georgia Stars and became a star in South Florida.
Acuff hit the 3 for the East to get the East on the board. Here comes Ament. So skilled at his size. Cut off by Dimitar. Cameron Boozer drills the 3.
People question his shooting ability, and I understand it, but he has a pure stroke at 6'9". You can call him a point forward, you can call him a point center. One of the smartest and most skilled offensive players that I've seen in a long time.
I agree with you, Harley, and those who are questioning his jump shot haven't watched enough, because he has truly improved, especially from beyond the arc.
And he takes smart ones that are wide open.
Eric Ryba headed to UConn, left it short for the East. In transition, Dimitar headed to BYU. BYU's first McDonald's All-American in 25 years. Fall away, no, might have been a pass. It works for 2, Wilson with the stop.
Chris is absolutely going to say it was a pass, and of course Caleb makes him look great finishing it off with the 2-hand finish.
What would Derek Wittenberg say?
D-Witt would definitely say it was a pass.
Because he looked like Lorenzo Charles on that one.
Ament knocks it down, the East on top.
Ament so smooth, so fluid at 6'10". his ability to improve his overall IQ and shot over the 4 years has been outstanding.
Dimitar, feet set. Boozer with the outlet. Mullins leaves it for Acuff, the #1 point guard in the class, headed to Arkansas. Out of bounds, and will stay at this end.
You know, one of the things you love about Boozer, PB, is that in a setting like this, he doesn't come out and try to do things that he doesn't do well. He just continues to show that he plays the right way, stepping up, knocking down the 3 ball, putting pressure on the West team, on the interior, going to the free throw line. And Cameron Boozer, of course, now I need to read this. Biancardi's 5-star scouting report, highly skilled, yes. Outstanding rebounder, yes. Gatorade National Player of the Year, yes. Athlete type, Paolo Banchero, Kevin Love, I can see that. And of course, we talk about his mom, CC, his dad, Carlos, a definitely great pedigree. So I'm going to give you an A.
Plus.
No plus. just the A. You're asking for too much. But I'm going to give you an A on this first scouting report.
He's the best rebounder I've seen in my time at ESPN. Prior to him, it was Kevin Love. He has an outlet like Love, like Wes Unseld. If you go way back, Bill Walton. I have not seen somebody get the rebound, fire the outlet down the floor for an assist like Cameron Boozer.
But one of the things you would normally say about a guy that's highly rated, they would grab it and they want to push to show off their skill. And he can do that, but he's always looking to make the right play, whether that's the kick-ahead pass or the outlet.
So what's the next step for Cameron Boozer?
Defend away from the basket. He's a proven defender on the blocks at the foul line, but if he's going to guard the 3-point line or not, I think that's a big question. Can he switch in college? Can he switch at the next level, or will he be reserved to guarding power forwards and maybe big small forwards, if you will, jumbo wings? That's my question on him defensively. Offensively, I have no reservations with him whatsoever, collegiately or in the NBA.
But one of the things when you were watching the West earlier today, I was watching the East with a lot of NBA scouts, and they were super impressed with the way he slides his feet. And I saw him do that against Cooper Flagg when they were 15s, Knight Riders versus Maine United, and that's what impressed me the most about Cameron Boozer early in his career.
Second units on the floor now for both squads, and the 3 balls knocked down by Nicholas Homenia, who will join the Boozers at Duke.
Listen, when we talk about Duke's class, it's a great passing class. The Boozers, Homenia, Shelton Henderson, it may be the best passing class that I've seen in terms of recruiting classes in a long time. Usually they're great athletes or great shooters. That group going to Duke next year can really move the ball.
Abayev controls the rebound for the East. Sean Abayev going to Cincinnati. Here's Caden Boozer, Cameron's twin brother, lost it out of bounds.
We talk so much, and rightfully so, about Cameron Boozer, but Caden Boozer, maybe the best passer in this game. He has the hit-ahead pass, the pocket pass, the pick-and-roll, lob pass. He has every pass imaginable, and he loves to give it up.
Malik Thomas, top 10 player in the class, going to Arkansas like Acuff, who plays for the East. Missed the 3. Tunde Yesufu with the follow. Yesufu from Benin, West Africa. He signed with Baylor.
And he had great energy this morning in practice. NBA scouts were asking me, does he always play that hard? I said yes. And he shot the ball well.
The all-time leading scorer in California high school basketball. More than 3,500 points. Speaking of scoring, what about Jalen Harrelson, the Indianapolis product, going to Notre Dame?
Yeah, the #1 player in the state of Indiana decided to stay home.
Elijah Arenas on the drive, the son of Gilbert Arenas. And Elijah draws the foul. Elijah's going to play at USC for Eric Musselman, who coached Gilbert the year he was the most improved player in the NBA in 2003 with the Golden State Warriors. Yesufu offline here.
And with such a great group of nice kids, Arenas may be the nicest.
Yesufu off the pick, the Euro, and the finish.
Thought he was going to punch it for a minute. He is a combination of power and force. He reminds me of Lou Dort with a better jump shot at the same stage.
Gonna have to come up with a nickname for his defense, like the Dorture Chamber, like with Lou. Oh, how about Malachi Moreno? This is his first time in a McDonald's uniform. Missed both of the practices because he was too busy leading his high school to a state championship in Kentucky last night. So fresh off the plane and right onto the court for Malachi Moreno. Harrelson missed the three. Braden Burries churning ahead, and he draws the foul. Corey's got the #1 player in the class, A.J. Dibonsa.
A.J., of course, you guys getting out to a good start early, now down 2. What are you looking forward to getting done when you get back in the game?
Just hitting shots. We're getting open looks where it's not hitting them, but, I mean, we only down 2 from missing like 4 open threes.
All right, now you come out with the defensive mindset, even though you get the lob from the beginning, but you start the game with a defensive mindset. Is that really where you've grown as a player?
Yeah, definitely. I think one of the more underestimated parts of my game, there's a lot of guys that can score, so I'm going to do the other things to win.
Now, when you look at this game, of course, it's going to be highly contested today, but then Tuesday is when it really gets going. I said that you guys have more competitors on the west side. You agree with that?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
West side, for sure.
All right, sounds good. We're looking forward to making sure you guys continue to compete throughout the reign of this one. All right? Have some fun.
I will.
All right.
And Corey, I think you were leading the witness on that one.
Well, PB, I was going to say that you said the other team was more skilled, but I didn't want to say that in front of AJ.
Final 20 seconds of the first quarter. West down a bucket with the ball. Hymenia directing traffic. Yesufu down low against Caden Boozer. Got it back. And Yesufu, yes sir, at the buzzer. A 3-ball. And the West has the lead at the end of 1.
Tunde Yesufu, tenacious, misses it, steals it back.
Extremely talented, but more important about them being talented, they nice young men. They're well-mannered, they're well-groomed, they raised properly, and that makes the enjoyment of being around them even better.
Sounds good, Coach. Good luck. I'll let you get back to doing what you do best.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, Corey, the ball's back in play. Let the man coach his team. Tree Harid, 6-time state champion, Lake Clifton High School out of Baltimore, and you can tell how much this means to him. It is an honor for any coach, Paul, selected to this game, just like it's an honor for the players.
Absolutely. You need a certain criteria, and he hit it with his wins, his years in the game. Such a gentleman off the court and an intense competitor at practice. 2 really high organized practice with a lot of energy.
And coaching the West, Danny Broussard from St. Thomas More Catholic in Lafayette, Louisiana. Amazing honor for both coaches, just like it is for the 24 players in this game.
Yeah, Danny Broussard over 1,100 wins down in Louisiana.
West coming up at the steal here. Darren Peterson, the #2 player in the country, signed with Kansas. Finds the #1 player. Dibonsa missed the 3, and the rebound by Cameron Boozer. So starters back on the floor here for both teams early in the second.
I know that Peterson and Dibonsa are going to play against each other, but I love watching them play together. They're so unselfish, so electrifying, and tremendous athletes.
Yeah, looking forward to that matchup in the Big 12 next year with Kansas and BYU. Dibonsa misfires again. Here comes Nate Ament.
Yeah, he gets bumped off the ball real easy right now, but you see the soft touch. Once he gets his balance, he can shoot over most defenders.
So the breakdown of where the McDonald's All-Americans are going here in 2025, of course, power conferences across the board, and interestingly enough, 7 of them going to the Big 12.
And 5 of those 7 are 5-star players. Houston has a couple with Isaiah Harwell. They also have Chris Sinak. 2 outstanding 5-star players, 1 guard, 1 big. Kansas we talked about with Peterson. Big 12 is going to be loaded next year with early talent.
Yeah, coming off the so-called down year, if you will, according to the metrics. Yeah, there's nothing down about the Big 12 overall.
Arizona just got Koa Pete, and I think Corey's going to speak with him in another minute or so.
Ball out of bounds. Yeah, Koa Pete, who just committed to Arizona on the Pat McAfee show on Thursday. Unable to participate this week because of a broken hand. By the way, a broken hand he played through to lead his high school to a state championship. Yet another state title, 4 in a row there in Arizona. Perry High School. Fadeaway doesn't go for Caleb Wilson. There's that outlet by Cameron Boozer you talked about. Couldn't pay it off. Acuff misses the three.
He just fires the outlet with strength and accuracy.
Oh, we mentioned Koa Pete, and Corey Alexander is with Koa.
Koa, for you being able to be named a McDonald's All-American absolutely has to be, such a joy, but not being able to play in this one, probably a little tough to deal with that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's tough, but being out here, the experience has been great since I've been out here. You're out here with the best players in the country, so just networking with them, talking to them, it's been great. And all the staff's been great to me, so everybody's been cool to me. I've had a good time out here.
And, of course, talking about tough, you actually played with a broken hand to get your team to a state championship. I'm sure there was a little pain involved in that, huh?
Yeah, for sure. It was a little painful, but, I played through it, and we ended up winning state, so that's all that matters.
All right, and committing to Arizona, you're looking forward to going, of course, to the Big 12. Ted and Paul just talking about it. You're going to see some familiar matchups out there. A.J. DeBonsa at BYU. You're talking about the guys you're going to see at Houston. You looking forward to matching up with some of these guys?
Yeah, for sure. You want to play the best players in the country, so I'm excited for it.
All right, Koa Pete, thank you very much. Put your brace back on. Thank you. Thank you.
Got the headphones, got the gear. Still a fun time for Koa Pete that he can experience this even if he can't be on the court.
And in practice this morning, he was coaching his guys on the West. Like he was trying to help them. What a block by Peterson.
Oh, tried to get another, but Acuff with the follow.
Yeah, Koa Pete is the ultimate teammate and ultimate winner. We talked about him being a 4-time state champ, also a gold medal champion. He played with DeBonsa and Boozer.
Those Team USA squads loaded at the under 17, under 18 levels. Here's a long two for the West. And Chris Sanak Jr., yes, he's the #1 center in the class, but he can certainly step out and hit it.
And Ted, he opened the eyes of NBA scouts. There's Nate Ament with a beautiful soft touch from the mid-range. Sanak can really score the ball inside the arc. He sprinkles in the three-point shot. Tremendous athlete. He is, without question, in my mind, the most talented player that Kelvin Sampson has ever recruited. I'm trying to think back, Indiana, Oklahoma,
sure.
Washington State. And once he gets his hands on him in practice, he'll be a great defender.
And Sanak says he's looking forward to that. He believes that Kelvin Sampson is the coach who can elevate his game. Zay Harwell, his future teammate at Houston, elevating for the bucket for the East. Oh, there's Sanak! An explosion at the rim. And a timeout called by the East. So Harwell at one end, Sanak at the other. Houston Cougars with 2 McDonald's All-Americans coming their way.
We see the talent of the West. Look at the conversion. Peterson throws it ahead to Sanak. He covers ground so quickly with his long strides at 6'10". NBA scouts texting me this morning, is he this talented? Is he really this good? Because we see great upside in him. Now, he's got a long way to go in terms of productivity, but you can see he has so much to work with, and he has so much time to work on his game.
Sanak says he models his game after Anthony Davis, that all-around big. Do you see shades of that in Sanak?
Not really.
Not quite.
I see more Chris Bosh. I really do. Somebody who can shoot it from the outside, but then take you into the block and work you with footwork and touch. He's a great athlete at his size. You know, he is scratching the surface. You hear that phrase all the time, but he is just starting to become something really good in the game. I don't think he understands how good he can be. I think Kelvin Sampson will make that point on the first day of practice.
Yes.
And I'll tell you what, Kelvin Sampson can get talent not only to play hard, but to play defense.
So mass substitutions again with under 4 minutes to play in the half, and a foul called as Braden Burries, the product of the Inland Empire in California, grabbed the rebound.
If there's an underrated McDonald's All-American, it's Braden Burries. Unassuming, quiet demeanor, just won a state championship at Roosevelt High School in California. Just a bucket and a point guard.
Well, instead of one guest, how about two joining Corey Alexander for the East?
Well, when you consider, if I'm going to be surrounded by big guys as a guard, these are guys I want to be around. However, this tall guy is not really a big guy. He's a skilled guy. Nate Ament, how has this experience been for you thus far?
I mean, it's been truly a blessing. I can't say anything, but I'm blessed. Just trying to take it every day at a time. You've told me many times, just make sure they know I'm here. So I'm trying to do that each and every day.
Absolutely. And one person you never have to ask if you're here is going to be Cameron Boozer. You show up every time. Your consistency has been something that has made you one of the top players in the country. Is that something you want to continue to do throughout this week?
Of course, trying to show up every day, show my talent. I'm here for a reason. Everyone's here for a reason, but got to do the little things to separate yourself. That's what I'm trying to do.
Okay, so now I got to ask you this question. When you come to the McDonald's All-American games, every now and then there's a couple of guys that come in and they haven't signed or committed yet. You doing any recruiting while you're here?
I've been doing a little bit.
He's got a guy over here to my right who maybe he's having a couple conversations with, but I know for you guys right now, the most important thing is getting a win for the East, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, he's been a terrific teammate, and he's been, of course, recruiting a little bit, but, I mean, most important thing is winning first, so we're trying to do that right now.
All right, sounds good. You guys have some fun. Enjoy your week.
Yeah, Corey, the final five schools for Nate Ament: Duke, Arkansas, Kentucky, Tennessee, and Louisville. And we're told he's going to make his decision on Tuesday during NBA Today, 3 Eastern on ESPN.
Let's not forget now Malik Thomas and Darius Acuff. They're doing some recruiting here in Brooklyn.
Of course.
As well.
Both Thomas and Acuff heading to Arkansas. And yes, here is the list for Ament, one of the biggest risers in high school basketball, Paul, over the last year. He moved up 4 spots. That is so hard to do once you're in the top 10, but he earned it.
As a sophomore, I found out about him through Kevin Schneider at Big Shots. He said he's somebody you should consider for your ESPN 60. Saw him live, saw him on tape, put him in. Didn't know what he could become, but he has taken his game to another level, winning a state championship as a senior. He's now close to 6'10", and his jump shot and his passing game has evolved so much. Once he gets strength to get his balance, you can see why Arkansas, Duke, Tennessee, Louisville all want him. I think the favorites right now are Arkansas and Duke.
We'll find out very shortly. A creative move there for the West and Malik Thomas. Speaking of Arkansas.
Yeah, speaking of Arkansas, John Calipari going to have an elite backcourt when you think about Malik as well as Darius Acuff Jr. Both those guys coming in. 2 points guards. That is as far as I'm concerned.
Look, if you love Boogie Flan, you're going to love Darius Acuff twice as much. Just plays with so much force. Reminds me of Dame time. It really does. Damian Lillard. And his ability to get the spots, rise up and fire.
Off the turnover, Nicholas Himenia throws it down. Again, running clock, final seconds of the first half. Darius Adams going to UConn, almost lost it. A pass inside, Abayev missed it, but a foul called as we've reached the end of the first half, but I believe we're going to get free throws here. Yep, Sean Abayev will shoot free throws here after Braden Burries committed the foul. Abayev, the lefty, Cincinnati's highest-ranked recruit since Lance Stevenson in 2009.
And Corey, stop blowing in my ear, will you?
Born ready. Born ready.
Now, this kid is a flamethrower. Passes better than people know about, but a great shooter.
And now we hit halftime with the East up 6 here in the McDonald's All-American Boys Scrimmage at Brooklyn College.
The story was McDonald's had called Coach Wooden and said, we want you to join with Coach Wooden, and they said, I don't deal with All-Star games, but I called him and said, Coach, it's for charity, and he says, I'm in. And so I think the fact that they do this, it's really great players that are healthy, given great gifts by God. to perform on a national stage, to give back to those who are less fortunate and help families with sick children stay at the Ronald McDonald House Charities. And that's one thing we've told to the kids, is that we went to the Ronald McDonald House the first day, and it's probably one of the most impactful things about the games week. And I talked to Koa Pete, who's obviously hurt, and he said, Coach, that was just so special to me to give back. So I think obviously giving back to those that are less fortunate through the great game of basketball is just something special you always felt good about.
Chris Sinak hits the long jumper for the West to make it a 4-point game. Again, running clock here, and we are using the college three-point line, which is not a problem for most of these players. Braylon Mullins misses the three there. Joe, being back in New York City, first time since 2002 when the games were at Madison Square Garden. We're in Brooklyn this year. That has to be special, too, considering this great city's history with the game.
Absolutely. It's been the Mecca. The Garden was the Mecca. That was actually the first girls McDonald's All-American game, which I think is obviously was a special and needed add-on. So that's obviously fantastic that happened. But it's special to be back, and obviously Brooklyn's got a neat swag to it, and we're excited about the Barclays Center and these young men, these young women. I actually went to the girls during the girls' game scrimmage and said, hey, let's save some for the game, because it was unbelievable. I'll tell you that.
Now, Joe, you're the chairman of the game, but tell us about the role of your wife, Terry Lynn.
I mean, she is the director, without a doubt. She directs the selection committee and the nomination process, and just really does a phenomenal job, and coach player personnel during the week. But I think she just does a phenomenal job of really, running the entire process, running the committee, which obviously Paul's a valued member of, and obviously, kind of speaking towards the McDonald's process. One thing that is great is any athletic director, any high school head coach, any principal can nominate anyone that's a varsity basketball player or the boys or girls side. We welcome all nominations, which start in September. And it's really, we scour the country, and we then obviously go through the nominee period through December 1st, and then we get down to a top 100. And then obviously we have a democratically selected all-star game, which I think has really been one of the key points of the McDonald's All-American games, because we've, you can't impress one person. You have to impress a committee of experts, Paul being, obviously a key man, Adam Finkelstein, Eric Bossi, great coaches like Jeff Kaufman and Grant Rice and so many other great, Boo Williams, who's been there forever. And Terry Lynn leads them. And so we're just very fortunate to have great basketball minds, great basketball people. And so really anyone can become a McDonald's All-American. I think from the first time you look up 10 feet in the air and you have a dream, I think that pinnacle is the McDonald's All-American basketball games.
When you talk about the selection process, what is the criteria to make the game? Because so many great players don't make the cut, and it's really hard to be one of the 24 McDonald's All-Americans.
Absolutely, and there's always great players that develop late. There's great players that are the 25th. We only can select 24. Just like, Dr. Naismith said, you can only start 5. You got to have a great 6th man. So, you have to select. And it's a tough process. But, again, I think, what we try to look for is obviously we look at body of work. We look at pro potential. We look at, obviously, skill, IQ, competitiveness. And then one of the big things that I think besides that is, just do they impact winning? You and I talk about that a lot. You can be really talented, but if you don't help your team win, you're not a great player. You're a good talent, but you're not a great player. And so I think that's really important.
Joe, we just saw the list of the #1 ranked players over the last few years. Cooper Flagg, such a star on this stage a year ago down in Houston. Now he's in the Final Four with Duke. You look on the women's side, Sarah Strong or Joyce Edwards, or take a look at USC with Kennedy Smith, Avery Howell, Kaylee Heckel after Juju Watkins went down. You and Terry Lynn have to take so much pride in what the alumni from the McDonald's games do after they leave this experience and move on to succeed with their colleges.
I mean, absolutely. And you know what I think is so great is obviously there's the great, Cooper Flagg, who obviously was clearly, one of the top guys last year. And, Paul said to me, he said he's a great competitor. And I think that's one thing he's shown through. And if you're a great competitor, you get better at your skill. So I think that's fantastic on the girls' side. I'll never forget, I handed Sabrina Ionescu the MVP of the girls' game many years ago. And she said to me, and she leaned in and said, and they told me I wouldn't make the game as I gave her the MVP. So, and you love that swagger and that chip on their shoulder. But, yeah, really proud of the alumni. And I think one of the amazing things, and I think it's going to be true of the W down the road, but the NBA has a stat that you have a 67% chance of having a significant NBA career if you're a McDonald's All-American. The next closest indicator is below 20%. I know, I've talked to GMs and they say the number one question in the draft room is, was he a McDonald's All-American? So it's obviously something we're very proud of, and obviously the committee's very proud of, and just does great work every year of selecting the top 24.
Joe, thank you so much for the time, as always. It's a privilege for all of us to be here. What a wonderful week it is, and we can't wait for the rest of the week with the Sprite Jam Fest and certainly the games on Tuesday.
Absolutely. Great to be with you, and let's have a great games week.
Thank you, Joe.
Appreciate it.
Joe Wooten, chairman of the McDonald's All-American Games and the Selection Committee, here with us. And so we've got the timeout under 5-minute mark of the third quarter. The East up by 1, and you have the substitution, so those second units back on the floor, Paul.
Yeah, the East has really taken it to the West in terms of half-court offense. They're scoring the ball at a really good pace, and they're defending and getting back. I did not see the West get many transition buckets in this game, and I thought that was the big key because the West so athletic, and I think they're great finishers.
Including Tunde Yesufu, who had 7 points in that burst in the first half to lead the way.
He wants another one right now.
Sizing up the taller Moreno, and Yesufu left it short, but an offensive rebound. Hamenia, the kick, and Burries sticks the triple.
He is, without question, I mentioned it earlier, an unassuming star here at the McDonald's game. I love his overall basketball IQ. He can play the point or the off-guard position. Doesn't demand the ball, but knows how to score.
Caden Boozer ties it up for the East.
And there's something about the Boozers and winning that always happens at the end of games.
It's all they do. Malik Thomas off the mark, rebound by Moreno, who again landed here in New York this morning. Did not take part in practice, gave him a uniform. Here he is out there playing.
Jalen Harrelson with a nice pull-up jump shot going to Notre Dame next season. As you see, every minute that goes by, Ted, the competitiveness, the team chemistry gets a little bit better.
Hamenia for 3.
Shot selection is so important, even in an all-star game.
Boozer the lob, and the finish by Moreno. Off the plane into the rim.
Tell you what, Caden Boozer can see it and make it. What a passer. The ability to look up the floor, the timing, and the unselfishness to give it up in a moment's notice.
Now Abayev. Like you said in the first half, what a shooter he is, but an underrated playmaker. How about the wraparound? Trey McKinney going to Michigan, could not finish. They got it back. McKinney, long 2. Give it to him.
Michigan, Dusty May is going to love that big body. You can put him on the outside or post him up. 3-point shooter, back down dribble guy, and can be a really strong defender.
Over to Corey with Darren Peterson.
Darren, for you started to heat up a little bit here in this third quarter, knocking down back-to-back threes. How important is it for you to get this same win for the West?
That's what we all about. We're just trying to get the win. That's the most important thing to us and our coach is getting the win.
For you, of course, being competitive, that's one of the things that's the requirement when you're playing for Bill Self. What have you and Coach Self talked about with you coming to Kansas next year?
Come in and be a leader, come in ready to work, be a freshman, make mistakes, but he's going to keep believing in me and keep putting me out there.
One thing about you, you're confident. You believe in yourself, and what you believe you guys can get a win here today, and more importantly, get a win on Tuesday?
For sure. We're going to get both.
I like the sound of that. That's why he's so confident, part of the reason why I love him so much.
And, Corey, it's why Bill Self loves him so much. He's called Darren Peterson the best player he has recruited at Kansas in his 22 years.
I think he's the most talented player that Bill has ever recruited. He played Utah Prep with A.J. DiBonsa head-to-head, scored over 50 points or 60 points, won that game, played the Boozers in Columbus, beat them. For him to beat those two teams and put to his team, Prolific Prep, on his back, speaks volumes of what he can do at Kansas. He could have a Cooper Flagg-like effect at Kansas.
after Kansas just suffered their worst season in the incredible tenure of Bill Self. It's funny to make the tournament and say that, but that's what it was for Kansas. Subpar year overall as Hymenia hits the three for the West. Final minute, third quarter, East by 5. McKinney lost the ball, got it back. Moreno with the tip in.
His length allows him to get offensive putbacks. He is a great passer. In Mark Pope's system, Mark will put him at the high post, send cutters to the basket. He'll be involved in dribble handoffs, a really skilled post player.
Moreno's got 10 points.
Off the plane.
Right off the plane and into the scorebook. Oh, Burries with another three. Final 10 seconds of the quarter. And Abayev got hugged by Hymenia. So third quarter's going to run out here. And we've got a 4-point game. On our way to the fourth. Malachi Moreno, last night at Rupp Arena, his future college home, wins a state championship for Great Crossing High School. Yeah, today in Brooklyn, how about this?
Length, agility, plays inside, plays outside. Next year at Kentucky, it's going to be a difference maker.
How is this Chili's 3 for me only $10.99 when fast food is so expensive?
It could be because we don't have to pay for any mascots.
Please! I was born for this! Please!
Never gonna happen!
Wait, I know the song!
By the McDonald's All-American Games, where hype becomes legacy. Really nice crowd on hand here at Brooklyn College. I see Ace DiBonsa, the father of AJ, the #1 player in the country. Of course, he's got the BYU hoodie on. That's where AJ is going. We start the fourth quarter. Ted Emmerich, Paul Biancardi, Corey Alexander, our entire crew. The East up 51-47, and DiBonsa and the starters are back on the floor. And Corey is joined by just about everybody from the West who is not on the floor at the moment.
I'm surrounded by Southern California. Of course, I've got all the top players from Southern Cal right here. When you consider the fact that these guys are making up part of what this West group is, and how are you guys going to get back in this game, Elijah?
We just got to play hard, play smart, want it more.
Okay.
As long as it's a team, I feel like we'll get that.
Got it. Braden, for you, what's this experience been like for you coming here and being a part of McDonald's All-American?
The experience has been great. It's a blessing from God, and it's a dream as a child, and it's a step in the right direction for sure.
Yeah, Tunde, I'm hearing that no one has scored as many points in the state of California as you. Is that true?
Yeah, it is true.
All right, so when you've been one of the guys that everybody has talked about your motor, how hard you've played, how important is it for you guys to win not only the scrimmage, but the game on Tuesday?
I think it's really important for us just to show that, the West side, we're really good at it, and then we just go at it. But I think most importantly right now, we just need to be locking on defense and just keep running the floor and share.
All right, sounds good. All my 3 L.A. guys right here, man. We can have a good time, but they need to make up 4 points here against the East.
West side, West team, 4-point game. West with the ball. Boy, Kristanak Jr. certainly made an impact, especially in the second half. DiBonsa fades and connects.
That's his game, Ted. The mid-range game, outside the paint, inside the arc. He rises up with great balance, soft touch. He's been making that shot his whole life. And he gets to his spot so quickly.
Amen. Trying to get around Caleb Wilson. Foul called.
Here comes DiBonsa right off the handoff. 1-2 dribbles, a little contact he creates. Knows how to get separation. He rises up. His eyes are on the rim. His body is balanced. He is an NBA athlete with great versatility and a high basketball IQ. When I watch him play, I think of T-Mac. I think of LeBron James as an athlete at the same stage. And yes, he is the favorite to be the #1 pick in the 2026 NBA draft. He has the total package. It just needs to continue to improve.
There are many scouts, Paul, we've talked to him, who have said they would take A.J. DiBonsa over Cooper Flagg in this year's draft.
50-50 right now. Half the scouts that I spoke with would take him right now in this year's draft. He, without question, has to be the favorite for next year. As good as Darren Peterson is, and he's been spectacular, you can't leave a 6'9" NBA athlete on the board with 3-level scoring skills, a high basketball intensity level, and a high basketball IQ. I mean, he is the future of the NBA. I know that's a lot to put on a teenager right now, but that's just the facts. And you look at Peterson right behind him, Boozer at number 3. This class, in my mind, is the best class that I've seen in maybe 2 decades.
That good.
Absolutely. From at the top, it's top heavy. There's star depth. There's players that are emerging right now. There's guys that are somewhere in the middle of this class that are going to make a name for themselves next year in college basketball.
Peterson turned the corner, and he lays it in with a foul. Back to Corey now with Darius Adams, a future UConn Husky.
Yeah, Ted and Paul over there talking about guys who are going to make an impact in college basketball next year. You headed to UConn. Now, this is the first time that you can remember in recent memory that you didn't win a national championship at UConn. What's your goal going back?
For sure, national championship, always the goal. Win, win, win.
All right, so you're going in to play for – now, I call him Danny. I'm sure you know him as Dan Hurley, but, of course, has a somewhat of a fiery – but he's a great guy. When you think about it, is that the type of coaching that you feel like you needed going in?
Yes, for sure. I love how passionate he is. He's going to make me play harder. He's going to bring out the energy in me, so I can't wait for it.
Well, he's got a quality player in you, unbelievable shooter, but a playmaker as well. When you get to UConn, what are you looking at your role being once you get there?
Whatever they need me to do, but also being a guy, a 1 and 2 for them. Someone that can play both positions for them.
All right, sounds good. We look forward to seeing it moving forward.
Yeah, for the first time ever, Connecticut has 3 McDonald's All-Americans in the same class. They lead the way this year along with Duke. 3 players in this game. Boozer inside, and he's headed to the line.
Yeah, Arkansas is going to bring a dynamic backcourt with Acuff and Malik Thomas. They need scoring next season. You know John Calipari's going to reload. They're going to lose a lot, and Acuff and Thomas can put up points.
So here with exactly 5 minutes to go in the fourth, again, the subs come in. That second unit, we had the starters to open the fourth quarter, and now those second units come in, save for Cameron Boozer, starter for the East, at the line for 2.
Cameron Boozer has been the difference in the second half. The assist making, the creativity, that last pass he made out to Amen. When he doesn't score, he can find the open man. He makes any offense run with cohesiveness. That's why he's such a winner. It's not just the scoring and the rebounding, but it's his passing, which may be his best skill.
Amazing to think that Cameron Boozer, just 17 years old, of course, Dad Carlos, McDonald's All-American back in 1999, the 2-time All-Star, Olympic gold medalist, national champion at Duke, is here to see Cam and Caden, his sons, shine on this stage. Now, we asked Cam Boozer yesterday, Corey and Paul, any piece of advice from Dad that has really stuck with you through the years? And Cam told us, you have to stay present. Enjoy every step of the journey. And he even said it, I could very easily picture myself at Duke. You watch them now, they're in the Final Four. Oh, how much I would love to be there with this team. Can't wait for next year. No, I am here in Brooklyn. It's time to enjoy the McDonald's All-American games and what they're about.
When I look at Cam Boozer, I see consistency, productivity, and an everyday guy. You interviewed him, and he said every day. There's guys that feel like it, and they do it once in a while. Cam Boozer does it in practice. He does it in games. And the results, they speak for themselves.
And I love when we talked to Caleb Wilson, who joined he and his brother Caden with the Knight Riders winning a Peach Jam championship. And he talked about how competitive Cameron was, but he also talked about the leadership of Caden. And that was the part that really got to me, is when he talked about how much of a leader Caden was, but how he would bring you to the side. He wasn't like extremely vocal screaming, but he would bring you to the side as Caden's running the show right now. But how he bring you to the side and help you learn the plays and everything that was involved in being successful.
What a hustle play by Tunde Yesufu. Couldn't pay it off with the 3. And the rebound for the East.
If the West can come back and win this game, Yesufu will be a big reason why. His energy and defense and aggressiveness has been the difference for the West.
Here is Caden Boozer with that second unit. Out to Trey McKinney. Oh, that popped out. Moreno on the offensive glass, and he's fouled.
You always have to be ready when you play with Caden Boozer. His ability to look at the rim but still spray it out is second to none in the class. He makes everyone around him better.
Back to this play by Yesif, who didn't end up with a three, but how about diving on the floor in the scrimmage?
In an all-star game. In an all-star game scrimmage, diving after the ball, but that's the only thing that he knows. Tunde Estafu, he only knows how to play hard. A team why not guy. And again, Russell Westbrook is the leader of that AAU program. You consider that's the mentality that each and every one of those guys have. They play like Russ, and Tunde, you see a lot of those similar characteristics.
Yeah, but for everyone watching thinking he's playing hard today, he's played that way his whole life.
Forever.
The habits that these players have, they've been developed over the last 5 or 10 years. And that's why they're McDonald's All-Americans. They're special as athletes, they're special skill-wise, and they bring intangibles to the game.
But I love how the coaches and everyone around has talked about how good of people these young men. This particular group, that's one of the things that's been glaring is how good of people that they are. And oftentimes you don't see kids that you say they're such good kids that compete as hard as they have this week.
Now, I don't sense much, if any, entitlement off the court. And I love the swag that they play with on the court. I love Acuff and DeBonser and Peterson, and Boozer does it in a quiet, confident way.
McKinney fades. Missed it for the East. Loose ball picked up by Adams. And Moreno with the finish.
I tell you what, for a guy that hasn't practiced at all,
Off the plane,
Moreno has been productive, to say the least, throughout this scrimmage.
Now trying to close out on Jimenia, who still hits it from long range.
The guy who has not practiced could be the MVP of this game. Just shows you his basketball instincts, the ability to play with other guys. Hasn't practiced with them, but can read each other's movements and find the right place to go on the court. He knows where he belongs, in the paint, at the rim, and he can stretch behind the three-point line.
But once again, another guy that doesn't come out here and do what he doesn't do well. And coaches will tell you all the time, PB, do what you do well. Work on the other stuff when you're behind closed doors. But when you're playing in the games, do what you do well.
Great phrase I heard is be great at what you're good at. And I think that's what a lot of these players are trying to do. They're not trying to go and be Superman and play out of their comfort zone or try to be the Superman of this game. They understand that so many great players here, they have to do it collectively.
We dip under 90 seconds here in the fourth quarter with the East up by 6.
They run that little get action, and Jimenia, he's
no
really
look
skilled.
through the hands of Arenas and out of bounds.
You know who Jimenia reminds me of? I want to go way back.
Uh-oh.
Keith Van Horn.
Oh, yes.
He's got the length, the body type, the look, the skill, and a little bit of that toughness that Van Horn had.
Yeah, number 2 pick in the 1997 draft. Can you mention the 2 guys who were drafted around him?
How about you mention Braden Burries, who just threw it down?
And Braden Burries, one of those guys from Southern Cal. We talked about making a comeback and how they would have to do it.
4-point game, 45 seconds. We should be operating with a normal clock, stopping on timeouts like we do right here. The East calling time with 40.8.
Braden Burries on the steal, coming up with great hands and then turning his defense into offense on the other end of the floor, finishing it at home, and now a 4-point game. But, Coach, how many times do you think we've seen a trap to force a timeout in a scrimmage game with elite players?
Not in an all-star game. We never see that. What I love about Burries is he plays under control. He plays a smart game. He plays an efficient game. One of the top scorers in the EYBL. He doesn't try to do too much, and he, as you mentioned, Corey, he doesn't go out of his lane. You know, he stays in what he's good at. I watched him this morning, as you guys did. I think he can play a little point guard if he needs to.
I believe so. I think that's something that, and that's one of the things that he's looking at when you look at his list, is somewhere where he can go be that combo guard, be able to play with the ball in his hands some and also off the ball and still try to find a way to be successful.
Yeah, he told me he's going to make his decision between those 5 schools next week.
40.8 to go. East ball up 4.
Got to play the foul game.
How about you come up with a turnover instead? Buries the lob. The finish by Yesufu. It's a 2-point game. Timeout for the West.
For a team that hasn't practiced defense, that was a really good trap, anticipation. And again, Burries just makes the smart, right, open play.
But look at the three guys involved in this. Okay, you've got Malik Thomas pressuring, and then Tunde Yesufu comes over for the trap. Burries with the steal, and you look at these guys on the same page after 2 days together of practice, all on the same page. And I'm not certain if they practice running and jumping at this point, but these guys with a great instinct to be able to pick up things on the fly.
What the West did work on this morning was decision making. They played 2-on-2 trying to make decisions. They played 3-on-3. They had some fast break opportunities. And NBA scouts, they can see the talent. They can see the athleticism. What they can't see is if someone can make a quick decision under duress. And we're seeing that right now at the end of this game.
We're just getting started here at the McDonald's All-American Games in 2025. Monday night, the Sprite Jam Fest, the knockout competition, the three-point shootout, the dunk contest, 7:30 Eastern on ESPN2. Then the games on Tuesday. The girls at 6:30 Eastern on ESPN2, followed by the boys 9 Eastern on ESPN. The girls' scrimmage went to double overtime earlier today. Could we have OT in this one? Remember, we had a buzzer beater last year in Houston with Liam McNeely. East getting it in. They're up 2. Slight difference between the clocks and a foul. Oh, just as the West thought they had come up with another turnover.
And I don't think they were trying to foul. It was more going for the steal.
Yeah.
They thought they had it clean. The referee thought different.
But you know what I love at this point is the way that these coaches are identifying who they want to have on the floor at this point. You got to think about it. I mean, again, you can play any of the guys you have on your roster available, but these guys have been chosen to finish the game, and that's saying something because these are very few of the starters on the floor right now.
Yeah, the East has a smaller lineup, good passers, and good free throw shooters.
So the East in the bonus here, 2 shots for Jalen Harrelson, who's headed to Notre Dame. Missed the first.
He's going to play with Marcus Burton next season. Leading scorer, returning leading scorer in the ACC. Brendan Shrewsbury. I think the Irish will be back competitive, top half of the ACC next year.
And Harrelson makes it a 3-point lead.
Right, now
Shot clock turned off.
You'll see the East switch almost every screen. For the West, try to get a quick 2.
Turn in the corner. Oh, Moreno, the block on Malik Thomas. Wow. Malachi Moreno from a state championship last night at Rupp Arena to a huge play down the stretch here today.
And great recognition by Moreno. He's recognizing that Malik Thomas is going to be able to get downhill as soon as he sees the double screen. So immediately retreats to the basket, meets Malik at the rim, and blocks it off the side of the glass as the East are able to give themselves a 2-possession game here with Trey McKinney, the 3rd at the free throw strike.
I think Moreno and Malik Thomas will see each other at the rim quite a few times. Next season, Kentucky and Arkansas, they're meeting.
I asked Moreno this afternoon, what did you do to win the state championship? He goes, I just patrolled the paint, blocked shots, and rebounded, trying to be a presence for my team. He's doing the same thing today for the East.
And McKinney stretches the lead to 5.
It's hard to get 5 in 15 seconds.
Burries, oh, foul with 14 seconds. That helps the cause, certainly, for the West. Fouls on Jalen Harrelson. It's just the 4th team foul, so inbounding from the baseline, Burries. Yesufu well short. Rebound, Moreno. Of course, Moreno comes up with the rebound in the end. He brings it up the floor. Harrelson throws it down to cap it off. And the East wins the boys' scrimmage 69-62. Malachi Moreno off the plane and yet still soaring at the rim. That block against Malik Thomas, the defining play.
Well, he was sensational, Moreno, but I love what Cameron and Caden Boozer did.